Good day! This is video lesson 1.3 about the topic direct variation. Or to be specific, the topic is direct square variation. So the learning competency is the learner translates into a variation statement a relationship between two quantities given by a table of values, a mathematical equation, graph, and vice versa. In direct variation, if we let x and y denote two quantities, the statement y varies directly as the square of x may be translated mathematically as y equals kx squared. So take note of the word square. Pag may nakita kayong ganito, as the square of tapos variable, dapat ang kanyang exponent ay 2. So there are situations where one variable varies directly as the square of the other. To get the constant of variation in direct square variation, we will use k equals y over x squared. So let's try this example. So given a variation statement, we will translate it into mathematical equation. First, we have b varies directly as the square of a. Remember, b is the dependent variable that varies directly to the independent variable. So take note of the word square of a. So kapag sinulat niyo yan, dapat meron siyang exponent na 2 kasi square. So we have equals a squared. At dahil siya ay direct variation, we will multiply the constant to the square of a. So we have now b equals ka squared is the mathematical equation of this statement. Next example, the area of a circle is proportional to the square of its radius. Take note is area denoted by a and radius is denoted by r, and that is the square of its radius. So if we will translate it into mathematical equation, we have a equals to kr squared. Alright? Next, the distance of a vehicle after applying the brakes varies directly as the square of speed. So we have d equals to ks squared. Next example, the kinetic energy of the substance varies directly to the square of its velocity. So we have E equals kv squared. So sa mga susunod nating lesson, iti-take note nyo lagi kung mayroon bang nakalagay na square, minsan nakalagay cube of the independent variable. Pag cube, ang kanyang exponent ay 3 na. Kapag naman square root, yung gumagamit ng radical. So depende kung ano ang ibibigay niya sa statement. Now, let's have illustrative example number 1. Let's determine whether the table represents direct variation or direct square variation. So, inspect natin yung table. So, ang x natin ay 2, 3, 4, 5, increasing. Ang y, 14, 21, 28, 35, increasing. Sa letter B, 1, 2, 3, 4, increasing ang x. Ang y, 5, 20, 45, 80, increasing. So, parehas sila na nag-i-increasing. Ibig sabihin, example sila ng direct variation. Now, in direct variation, y changes linearly with x. While in direct square variation, y changes quadratically with x. So, ganun daw yung changes nila, kaya magkaiba sila. Hindi basta-basta na pag nakita mo to ay direct variation na, ay direct square variation. Yan. Iti-test natin yan. So, paano? Yan. To check, solve for the value of constant k. Hahanapin lang natin yung constant. Now, if all values in the table are all true in k equals y over x, this is the formula of the constant of direct variation. On the other hand, if all values in the table are all true in k equals y over x squared, then it is direct square variation. So let's see table A. Test muna natin kung siya ay direct variation. So i-divide lang natin yung y sa x. So pinakauna, we have 214. That is 14 over 2 and that is 7. Next, we have 21 over 3, that is also 7. Next, 28 divided by 4, that is also 7. The next, 35 over 5, that is also 7. Since the value of k are all equal for k equals to y over x, then the table of values represent direct variation. Kasi nung tinest natin siya sa formula ng constant of direct variation, siya ay equal na lahat. Then the equation of variation is y equals 7x. Tingnan na natin yung graph niya. So, i-graph natin, i-plot natin yung graph. So, you have 214, 321, 428, and 535. So, tama. If you remember, the graph of direct variation is a line. Now, let's check the second table of values. Test natin siya sa k equals y over x. Pinakauna, we have 5 over 1, that is 5. Second, we have 20 divided by 2 is 10. Kung mapapansin nyo, hindi na sila agad pareho. Increasing parehas sila. Hindi naman parehas ang constant nila. Hindi natin pwedeng sabihin na siya ay direct variation or tinatawag na direct linear variation. Now, itest naman natin siya sa k equals y over x squared. So, yung first, we have 5 over 1 squared, that is 5 over 1. So, the answer is 5. Next, we have 20 over 2 squared. 2 squared is 4. Then, 20 divided by 4, that is 5. Next, 45 over 3 squared. 3 squared is 9. 45 divided by 9, that is also 5. Then, lastly, 80 over 4 squared. 4 squared is 16. 80 over 16, that is also 5. If you observe, all the ratios are all equal to 5. Therefore, since the value of k are all equal for k equals y over x squared, then the table of values represent direct square variation. And then, the equation of variation is y equals 5x squared. So, let's see the graph of the direct square variation. So, let's plot 1, 5, ito siya, 2, 20, 3, 45, and 4, and 80. Ayan. So, from 0, dito pa rin siya galing kasi ang direct variation ang gagaling sa 0, pero siya ay naging curve na. So, kung titignan nyo, the graph of direct square variation is a curve that looks like half of a parabola. So, alam nyo naman ang itsura ng parabola, right? So, kung titignan nyo, kalahati siya. Half lang siya. So, magkaiba sila ng itsura ng graph ng direct variation. Is it clear? Okay, next. Illustrative example number 2. The table shows the distance an object has fallen and the time it has been falling. So, the time denoted as t and the distance denoted as d. So, we need to find this 4. So, let's have the first problem. Let's determine if the table of values represents direct square variation. So, dapat increasing pareho. Yes, increasing sila pareho. So, let's calculate the ratio by using d over t squared, yung formula for the constant of direct square variation. So, we have 36 over 2 squared, that is 36 over 4, and the result is 9. Next is 81 over 3 squared. 3 squared is 9. And the result is also 9. Next, 144 over 4 squared. 4 squared is 16, so 144 divided by 16. And that is also equal to 9. Next, 225 divided by 5 squared. 5 squared is 25. 225 divided by 25, and that is also 9. So, since the ratios are all equal to 9, therefore, it satisfies the definition of direct variation, specifically the direct square variation. So, here is the variation statement. So, the verbal statement, we have d varies directly as the square of t. And the mathematical equation is d equals kt squared. Now, let's find the equation of variation. So, since the constant k is equal to 9, so ang gagawin lang natin is to substitute, then we have d is equal to 9t squared. Now, using the equation of variation, let's identify the distance the object will fall in 6 seconds, and 8 seconds. So, this one, palitan natin yung t ng 6 seconds. D is equals to 9. 6 squared. 6 squared is 36. And the result is 324. Therefore, at the speed of 9 feet per second, the distance that an object will fall in 6 seconds is 324 feet. Let's determine the distance the object will fall in 8 seconds. So let's substitute it to the equation of variation. We have now d is equals to 9, 8 squared. 8 squared is 64. So 9 times 64, that is 576. So therefore, at the speed of 9 feet per second, the distance that an object will fall in 8 seconds is 576 feet. Next, let's show the graph. So, una, we have 236 banda dito. Then, 381. Ayan, banda siya dyan. Next, 4144. And 5225. So, manggagaling siya kay 0. Yan. Siya pa din ay curve na parang half ng isang parabola. Now, let's go to illustrative example number 3. So the first step that we need to do is to translate the variation statement into equation. So here is the variation statement. Y varies directly as the square of x. So since meron siyang as the square of x, yung x ay may exponent na 2. So we have y equals kx squared. The next step is to find the constant of variation. Using y equals 28 when x is 2, we will just substitute it to the mathematical equation. So, yung y ay 28 equals k and x, which is 2 squared. So, 2 squared is 4. Then, let's divide both sides by 4. Then, 28 divided by 4 is 7. So, this is the constant of variation. Next, let's now find the equation of variation. So, from the mathematical equation, we will just replace the value of k here from the constant that we have obtained. So, we will now have y equals 7x squared. Right? Now, let's go to illustrative example number 4. Again, the first step is to translate the variation statement y varies directly as the square of x, and that is y equals kx squared. The second step is to find the constant of variation. So, since ang variable lang naman natin dito ay y at saka x, dapat yung kumpleto. And that is y equals to 12 when x is 6. Let's substitute. 12 equals k times 6 squared. 6 squared is 36. And then, let's divide it both sides by 36. So, cancel out natin ang 36 kasi 1 na lang siya. So, k na lang ang natira. Observe 12 over 36, mas mababa ang ating numerator. So, ilo-lowest term lang natin siya. So, since 12 and 36 are divisible by 12, 12 divided by 12 is 1. 36 divided by 12 is 3. And the answer is 1/3. Therefore, to find the equation of variation, we will just replace k by the value obtained. We have now y equals 1/3 x squared. And to find the unknown, ano ba ang unknown na hinahanap natin dito? What is the value of y when x is 9? So let's just substitute. Using the equation of variation, we have y equals 1/3 9 squared. 9 squared is 81. And 81 over 3 is 27. Therefore, in this given problem, y is equal to 27 when x is 9. Is it clear? Did you understand? Alam nyo na ngayon ang pinagkaiba ng direct variation at saka direct square variation. Parehas lang naman sila. Yun lang, yung independent variable sa direct square variation ay merong exponent na 2. Alright? So, thank you very much for listening in this video lesson.